Welcome back to Let's Talk. I am Laughingboy, and I'm here again with
TomFawkes.
It's just getting more melodic the more we go through with it.
every single one, yeah.
It just turns into a symphony.
Wait, the
If you
Pokemon?
put all the intros together. Damn it, I lost my train of thought. So on the last episode, we were talking about how to get started on recording a new LP, right? Today we will continue a little bit more about that, and then we will move on to some editing questions. So first off, collect my breath, we're going to talk about guest commentaries. So the first question, have you had guests on during recording?
Yes, I've done it with, I wouldn't say it's like guests, it was more like that everyone was more or less on with, I guess, I wouldn't really say guest though, because everyone else was recording as well and they posted on their own channels. Like, I feel like it'd be more guest if it was just like on my channel specifically. So I wouldn't say I've had guests, but I have co-recorded with other people.
Right. I mean, the earliest thing that comes to mind for me is, or the quickest thing that comes to mind for me would just be your Mario Kart 8 recordings.
Yeah, just like anything with the Derp crew, or like there's that time I did Triforce Heroes with John and Josh.
So I guess sort of going off of that question, were these guests in person or were all of these done online?
All online.
All online.
Yep.
So how did you record that?
Generally, it was just that that we would go in, we'd have our own setup there, and then we'd have something that would record like the Skype call or whatever. Like it was just capturing outside audio footage, and then we'd get that. That's what we do for like the Derp crew and whatnot. What I'd prefer to do, and that's what we did for Triforce Heroes, is everyone records their individual stuff as though they're recording it like on their own, and then we send each other our own like commentaries, and then we like do a sync up at like the beginning, kind of like what we did for this show actually. And just like edit them together like that, and that usually allows like the highest quality and the most freedom to be able to edit audio, because if they're all like clumped into one file, then it's almost impossible to edit. Like you kind of have to edit on the fly when you realize, oh, somebody's getting quieter, I need to boost this person's mic a bit, somebody's too loud, I need to lower their mic a little bit, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it really kind of gives off the impression that you're listening to them as if it was their own episode of something, which is really kind of nice. I felt like such a noob when I came up with this idea, because I was like, oh man, this is going to like bring out the best audio quality. Everyone's going to be all like, oh man, that's such a good idea, Laughingboy. And then I bring it up to them and everyone's just like, yeah, I just do that all the time. So it's actually a really good idea to just sync up the audio, have everyone record it off themselves. That way you're not like downloading extra equipment or extra software for, say, Skype or Discord. It's probably the best way to do these sort of online meetups.
Yeah.
Now, that actually answers my second question. So, have you actually had a guest during a single player Let's Play?
I don't think so. I can't remember any time I ever had one. Or
at least a co-coms on a stream?
Usually that's a little bit more open-ended though, because then it's not just them staring at the screen and having like a one-on-one with me. They've got the stream. They have the chat to work with as well. So it's a little bit different between just doing just having them guest on like a Let's Play video.
Right, and they're able to see the gameplay through the stream itself.
Yes, but delayed. Usually, usually if you do something where it's like across the internet, that kind of thing, you do like a screen sharing thing like Skype has, or I guess like the new Twitch, what is it? The new Twitch app thing does, or like or like some, yeah.
Does it actually do that? That's pretty neat.
I think it does. I don't know if it does screen sharing. I know it does like I think it does webcam though, at the very least.
I'll have to check that out. Let's move on to editing. Do you use any editing software on your audio commentary itself? I know we kind of previously discussed in the last episode that you are able to do certain dynamic changes on the fly.
I'll change certain things on the fly. I do edit a little bit in Adobe Audition. Like I'll just add something called like dynamics processing to it, where basically you set like these you set different parameters of like various like different like audio things, and it'll boost quieter audio, and it'll make loud audio. It'll boost quiet audio, make loud audio quieter. So that way it all kind of like comes out and like, it's always coming out at the same volume. I'm actually doing that with this recording now. So like the last like the 5 episodes I sent you were all had like that dynamics processing put into it. There are a few drawbacks, though. If the room isn't well soundproofed, you could probably hear it on to the people watching this. You can probably hear it. If the room isn't like sound dampened very well, then when the loud audio is quieted, there's like more of an echo. But when the quiet audio is brought up, there's like no echo at all because because it's quieter. It started out as being quieter. There was no echo to begin with.
Right.
But, so there is a drawback to doing it. And I'm hoping to get this room sound dampened, or at least when I move at some point, get a room that can be easily sound dampened.
Yeah, got to get yourself like a good office space.
Yeah.
So what program do you use to edit your video, on the other hand?
Adobe Premiere. If I'm feeling that there needs to be stuff that's if I'm feeling there needs to be something that has well, let's see. Yeah, if I'm feeling there needs to be a little bit extra, I might hop into Adobe After Effects for 1 or 2 things, but like I barely know how to use that.
I was gonna say kind of similar story, but have you used it recently, and do you have like a brief description?
The last time I used it, I think, was for the Vegeta bingo notification on my the stream.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it just the effect itself, and then you put that in your?
It was all I did was rotoscope out Vegeta from his from the background that he was on, and then put him put that on like a green screen GIF, and then chrome it out the green for the GIF so that appears with no background on it.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, can you maybe briefly describe some presets or video settings that you use for any given episode, or do you not really do that?
I mean, like the presets are usually things like 1080p, 60 FPS as the game runs it. I guess it more or less depends on the game. Even if I am playing like an older Nintendo game, then I will upscale it to 1080p. There
you go, answering my next question.
I guess I see the question here right now. Like the next question also says like, how do you deal with setting up 4x3? Okay. Yeah. I don't stretch 4x3. I'll have like, I'm reading ahead here, but I will have something like sort of behind, well, not really behind it, but just something to use as like to fill in like the space of the air, like the black bars in the outside of like the 4x3 space. Cause I still keep it in 16:9 cause like YouTube default is 16:9.
Yeah, and I think if you somehow create a 4x3 video, it will default stretch it out anyway.
It will not stretch it out. It will have like the black bars on either side. You could also see this on when people take vertical video. Mm-hmm. If you're watching it on a mobile device and you full screen it, it will fill up it'll fill up, if you're holding the phone vertically, it'll fill up that space.
Okay. All right, that makes sense.
So it is still like 16:9 on PC, and it's still 16:9 on like mobile devices as well, but it does like adjust to fill in like what it would need to fill in.
Okay. Now for that background, or do you use some sort of static or a dynamic background?
Static background. It's usually just like a graphic or something.
Okay. Did you create it yourself?
3DS isn't usually like, the 3DS isn't like widescreen. So like there's like a little like sliver on either side, so I'll just have like small like margins on either side. Like I don't know, mine for Triforce Heroes wasn't nearly as good as say like John's, who had like because like mine was just like a gradient of like green, red, and blue, whereas like John had like the sides had like different filigree and whatnot for like Hyrule stuff, like Hylian language, and like the corners had like different like emblems in it and whatnot. His looked really good.
I'll have to go back. I don't remember the backgrounds.
Yeah.
So I guess that also answers my next question of how to deal with 3DS footage. But I mean, I guess if you want to kind of go back into that, is there any changes that you do with that, I guess, black space?
Well, I usually have, I'll try if it's necessary, or if it's like, just like something that where it's like it would be there, I'd like to have the bottom screen up as well. It's like when I'm doing Fire Emblem, like the bottom screen will show like stats of the characters and whatnot. or the, or even like in the Pokemon games, like I'll leave that area up where it shows like the Rotom decks and whatnot, because that's also the map. Like it shows like a live map of where you are.
Right.
So like with that one, I kind of have to build like an entire overlay based on that. And I try to like maximize the space so you're getting the most out of each screen as possible. Because I see some people where it's like they'll have, like with mine, it's usually just like there's like a bottom bar and then like a side bar, and then I put the videos in each one. It's very like, I guess more or less blocky would be the would be a term I'd use for it. But I see other people where it's like it's a full like module, and then there's like spaces cut into the module that they put each of the screens in.
Right.
And I feel like that's not like maximizing the amount of footage, the amount of oh my God, brain, please. The amount of,
I guess,
you're not like maximizing the amount of like space you could be using for that, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think there's an argument, and I can't remember if it was something that I was talking to somebody else about, but there was this idea of when you have a video, you want to make sure that there is, that as much of that screen is dynamic as possible. And if that means that that's like 80% game footage with maybe just a little sliver on the bottom that shows maybe something else, then that's better than having, I guess, what you would say what my show kind of looks like now, where it's just like a lot of dead or like empty space with a video in the middle, and then like the two.
Well, I mean, yeah, like you could
bars.
still fill up that space, but I'm not saying that like they'd have like a lot of empty space there. I'm saying that it's like you have a graphic with things inside of it, as opposed to like the screen expanding as far as possible with like things filling in the black space.
Right. Oh, I see what you mean. So like it's just an idea of having a foreground versus a background, or like an extra foreground. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Going on, I guess we can move on to exporting and uploading to YouTube. Probably two of the most important things about a games channel are basically the quality both of the audio and of the video, and that can easily drop during the editing process for a number of reasons, and the first of which is usually the exportation process. So could you maybe tell us a little bit about what settings you use in that process, especially in terms of like the aspect ratio, bit rate encoding, like what does your export look like?
I use a default, actually. There's a default one in Adobe Premiere for YouTube, where I believe it's like it's 1920 by 1080 for like the resolution, 16 by 9. Bitrate I think is around like I want to say it's like 15 or 1600 kilobits per second, or not 1600, 16,000 kilobits per second. File size, I usually don't have like a target for it, and it'll depend on the length of the episode. I believe for like a half-hour episode, it's usually around like 3.5 gigabytes for each video.
Right. That sounds about right.
Yeah. Audio, I'll try to keep it like at the very least stereo, because like unless like I have to use mono for some reason, like some older game systems only do mono sound, so I have to kind of like copy the mono sound into the other stereo channel, depending on if it's like a stereo thing, then I wouldn't have a choice. But yeah,
that can be a bit of a chore. Now, is there a particular file type that you think works best when uploading to YouTube? This
MP4.
Is kind of and I think
MP4, the H.264 encoding format is like the one that works the best with YouTube.
Okay. And do you use custom thumbnails for your episodes? I think that goes without saying, but
yeah. But like I commission a graphic artist to make like thumbnails for specific things, and generally I think they do grab the viewer's attention for that. So it's like it grabs the viewer's attention. I think the one that more or less garnered the most attention was the one I did for Donkey Kong 64, where usually I like to have like it be just me like dressed up as the character or something like that, but Donkey Kong only wears a tie, so it was the picture was just like me only wearing Donkey Kong's tie, and then Diddy Kong like shielding his eyes from me.
Yeah, I think I remember
censored,
that
of course.
Of course. For the children.
For the chillins.
For the chillins. the little chitlins. So who actually does your artwork for those thumbnails?
That would be I don't know her real name, to be honest, but her username is Rated M. I know her real first name, but I don't think I don't think that people would want, got to be careful on the internet. But yeah, her name is Emily. She goes by Rated M. I basically did a call out for graphic artists to do thumbnail artwork for me, and she and one other person were the two most qualified looking, and I went with Rated M's.
Okay. Now, do you tag your videos in any way, shape, or form?
Now, do you mean like when you're uploading the video, there's like that bottom bar there where it's like the different tags, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Yes, I do tag my videos. It depends. It'll depend. If it's like one where it's like not really a well-known franchise, or if it's not a well-known franchise and it's one of those like flavor of the week games, because as much as I hate to say it, there are games that are just like flavor of the week. Like they'll be something for like a week and then nobody will remember them for like anything else. Usually I don't tag those, but anything that's like, it's, if I'm doing like a big series on it, or it's like a big franchise, I will tag the videos with something.
Okay. Now, do you have any tips for tagging those videos?
Usually, I'll usually go with like, names of characters in the games, the name of the game, the name of the franchise, the system that it's played on, the companies that make it, possibly any memes that have come up with it. Cause people will search for those and those will come up in tags. Okay. Anything along, those lines, who I'm doing it with. Like if I'm doing the video with somebody, then I'll put, their name in the tags. I think that doesn't really matter, though, if they're included in the title or description, because that will still come up in the search. Usually, it's anything. It's anything along those parameters that don't appear in the title or the description of the video.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think the hierarchy of the search engine optimization thing is the name of the video will get you further in terms of, I guess, being higher up on a search engine, and then it's pretty much the tags that do the rest of it.
Yeah. Description also does some legwork a little bit.
It does a little bit. I do know that people back in the day used to put tags in the description as a way to kind of cheat. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, like double up on it kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't believe that works anymore. I think that stopped working like several years ago. But
I remember Machinima used to do it because I'd look at some of the videos in the description that'd just be like the tags there as well.
I think they would also include, and I think I did this, and one other Let's Player I followed did this, where you would put like a small wiki description in the description part of the video, and that was supposed to help for some reason.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that works anymore either. The description isn't quite as powerful as it used to be. I believe it's just title, tag, and then description.
Yeah.
Do you think that tagging is truly helpful for getting people onto your videos, or I guess would you more or less agree with what I just said?
It helps. It does help from time to time, but like, I don't know. Like I said, it'll depend on the game.
Do you have any other miscellaneous tips about uploading your videos to YouTube to make sure you have the highest quality, like video and audio?
No, pretty much like everything there is more or less like, everything else, like it's for like high quality and whatnot. Not really. It's pretty much just like at that point, it's a little bit of your video and your kind of like, oh my God, I cannot speak today.
Have you heard me talk?
At that point, it depends on like the quality of the equipment you're using. So like, right. Can you get the highest quality of audio out of your microphone? Can you get the highest quality video out of your capture card? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think ultimately it has to do with, YouTube is going to downgrade your quality a little bit, and there's not too much that you can do about it, except for everything that you can possibly do in the recording process, in the editing process, and that export really does help.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that wraps it up for tonight's episode. It's a good stopping point. So on the next episode, we will talk about how to stream. This will be a brand new segment for the series. We've never really talked too much about streaming before. So luckily, we've got you here to give us a little bit of a head start
Oh boy.
Yeah, boy. So tell us everything you know, but not now. Give it about 2 weeks because I'm very slow at editing, and people just need to understand that. And I'm pretty sure that the music's already started to end.